Hey guys, Mickey from District Hair. I'm going to be doing a haircut today. She has gorgeous, beautiful, long, one-length hair and she's getting a little bored. So what we're going to do today is my signature cut for long hair, and I'm going to show you guys how easy this haircut is. What you need is a big white comb and little blenders. These ones here are custom made, but I'm sure you can probably find something on the market that's similar to these. And this is Esther. You can see she has gorgeous virgin hair. So today we're going to show you how to do beautiful long layers, vertical long layers on hair. So here we go. As you can see, Esther has all one length hair and she wanted to cut it off. So I decided to spunk it up again by creating layers and create some sort of fluffiness around her face. So what I'm doing here is I'm basically over directing the hair and using my blenders at a north-south position, and it sort of like helps me create more of a softer line rather than going ahead cutting. Now, most of us usually use blunt scissors and then we'll go in there and chip and texture and try to do everything we possibly can to soften our line, but this just allows to make my job a lot easier. Now, what I'm doing here is that I'm just concentrating on one side of the head, and you can see that I'm over directing everything to that point. Now, I'm not cutting the hair. Basically, what I'm trying to do here is sculpt it. So I'm sculpting a shape in, and every time I cut, I always want to see how that layer is falling and meeting everything else. And this is the reason why I like cutting hair dry, because I get to visualize and see how everything's falling in. Now remember, most hairdressers today will cut the hair wet and then they will blow dry and they end up cutting it again, because you get to see all those little hidden mistakes that you have done previously from the wet cut. So you can see here that the hair is starting to fall a little better, and I'm helping her by not cutting her hair short. And it's funny how some people walk in and they said, I want to cut my hair to my shoulders, and that just gives me an indication that they're totally bored with their hair, so they think cutting it up to the shoulders will be the answer. No, they need to be vibed, and this is the best way to vibe hair. So what I'm doing here now is just going on the other side, and I'm doing the same as I did the other side. And the best way that I can see how this shape is really going to work for me is that I'm going to use gravity to create my shape, and it's going to help me visualize my shape to make sure that this haircut is even on both sides. Now, it's very important that you must remember to always work with the natural parting. If the hair wants to part in the middle, part it in the middle. If the hair wants to part on the side, part it on the side. So this is where now I'm using gravity to see my shape that I'm trying to create. And just by having the hair hanging down like so, you can almost see that shape that's happening. And all I'm doing is just making sure that it's balanced on both sides. She's standing up. Yes, I cut everyone's long hair standing because it helps me visualize and helps me let the hair hang so I could see it clearer. I mean, we're trying to create a shape, so as they're standing, it's a lot better. So here I am, I'm just going ahead, taking some of the weight off the ends there, and it just makes my life a lot easier. And I could see what's going on here, and it's still creating that shape. Now, after working with the exterior, now I'm going to be working with the interior, and I'm going to be using my other textures or my blenders. These ones take out less hair. And what I'm doing now is I'm picking up big pieces here. And as I'm over directing, soon as that first layer falls out from the hairline, and this is what I'm going in there and I'm shattering to soften all those layers. By doing it this way, you're creating a vertical layer rather than just a basic layer haircut. And this works in her best interest, because when she turns around in the back, instead of having straight crust layers, her layers will be vertical, and it will be much needed for her when she wears her hair over her shoulders, because you want to try and keep as much length as you possibly can so you don't get that figure eight so to speak. But anyway, so here I am. I'm just grabbing big pieces, and you can see that I'm just grabbing, hang on, I'm just combing it, and I'm just grabbing a big piece. I'm going to really over direct it. You can see how I'm just grabbing it like a ponytail. I'm over directing it, and I'm just shattering off the weight of those ends. Now, I mean, other hairdressers will go in there and use a razor and stuff like that, but using a razor, I'm not a big fan of slicing the hair. This gives you a razor effect without slicing the hair, so it would last a little longer for her. She won't have split ends. And remember, when it comes to long hair, the last thing you want to do is use a razor, because the hair is just going to split and it's not going to be a good idea for her in the next 6 weeks. So once again, I'm just still going in there, I'm shattering, and now as I pop your head up, you can start seeing the layers. And watch this. This is where I get to see if everything's all working. And all I'm doing is I'm just combing it and making sure that everything all feathers in. And it's looking quite good so far. So far, so good. So what I'm going to do now is, just check everything, make sure everything's fine. There's enough weight off the ends. Everything's flowing in. Everything that I do is visual. Just have to make sure that it all works visually, and my comb, and just making sure that all the layers all feather in. Now, I've got her sitting down on this one because now I call this the inside out phantom cutting. So because the hair is really thick, what I'm doing is I'm taking big pieces and I'm working from underneath. Remember, these are my other blenders that I'm using to take out less hair. So I'm going from underneath, taking out that weight. And this actually helps a lot of people with long hair because, a lot of people complain that the hair's flat on top, and it's really puffy underneath. And this is the best way to take the weight out from underneath, and it just balances out the shape of that hair. So I'm just going through that the whole head, and I'm just going in, just taking out that weight from underneath. When the hair's dry, you can almost feel the thickness and how, if it's enough, it's not enough. And I'm lifting it up, and I'm just taking the weight from underneath, and I'm just picking it up. And again, I think that's probably about it. So it's a pretty easy way, but you just got to make sure that you use the right scissors. Now we're coming up to the important part. For everyone who has long hair, creating body on the crown. Yes, this is the best way of creating body on the crown without putting layers in there. So I'm taking my blenders and I'm just going from underneath the crown, taking the weight off. You can almost see how much it's starting to come up now instantaneously. Look, voila. What can you say? It works. But the beautiful thing is that I am not giving her a mullet at the same time. So we all do not want a mullet. And when it comes to a basic layer haircut. But anyway, that's another story. So here I am. I just feel like I need to take some weight from underneath her hair again because her hair is so thick. And we want to make sure that most of the weight is out because it will make her job a lot easier whenever she wants to style it or curl it. Now, you probably notice, like whenever you look at pictures of beautiful long hair, it's medium to thin hair. You're not going to find thick hair that's beautiful unless it's a natural curl. But everything's starting to look good now. I'm just blending it all in, looking in the mirror, and I think it's good to go. I'm just going to get you to make sure that everything looks good. This is how I find if a haircut works. I get my big comb, and I just want to brush it all in. And one thing is that this whole haircut, we do not go against gravity. We work with gravity. So what I'm doing here now is just picking up the hairline, and I'm just shattering some pieces in there. I call this phantom layering. So it just gives her a little bit more access to play around with it. Makes it a little easier for her. She's starting to like this now because it's starting to have movement. Now, this is the final part of the haircut where I'm just taking big pieces, I'm picking them up, and I'm just cleaning off the ends. And I'm not using my blunt scissors, I'm using my blenders once again, but I'm using the blenders that cut a lot more than the usual. And I'm just cleaning them up. It's very simple, nothing dramatic. And you see I'm just pulling it up and just cleaning up those layers. Yeah, there we go. And she's watching every move I make, At this stage, I'm not really worried because I've done this so many times and it always works. This is like the most idiot-proof haircut ever to work for fine hair. For long hair, that is. And once we've done it, We'll curl it and Shazam. We've got this beautiful look. She is the biggest happy camper on this planet, and she is the person that makes me the best hairdresser in the world, because I tell you one thing, it's all about that smile, and because of that mask, I can't see, but I know she has it. Thanks guys for tuning in. Subscribed.